Okay, so well, I can kick things off. First of all, as I mentioned, good morning, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining the LastPass and intY webinar that we've got lined up for you today. We're really excited about this one. We feel like you're going to get a lot out of this session. My name is Nick Wilkinson. I'm one of the vendor business managers at intY, and I'm aligned to the LastPass account. We've got Sofie Mondelaers from LastPass, who's going to be presenting to you today. Sofie's the Partner Enablement Manager at LastPass. We thought this webinar would be really important to run as a bit of a facilitator to help you sell more LastPass licenses. So we know as a partner of intY that you have an interest in LastPass. Obviously, you wouldn't be on this webinar if you didn't, but you should have access to the LastPass portal also from your account manager and from intY. So part of this webinar is going to be running through essentially how we can help you sell more licenses, how we can help you open up opportunities with your customers. We'll also tap into some details around the portal, so how you can add licenses, how you can obtain your NFRs, because I get a lot of questions from the sales guys at intY, presumably from our partners, around some of the functions around that. So how you can, the basic functions of the portal we'll run through on the demo as well. As I mentioned, objections. So if you're receiving certain objections from your customers around LastPass, then we'll cover that off as well. We want to keep this as interactive as possible. So please ask questions. I think Sofie, we agreed to pop them into the chat is probably the best way to deal with them. And when we see them come through, we can address them then, or at the end of the webinar if we don't have time. But I think that's it from me, really, in terms of the intro. I will hand over to you now, Sofie. I think we're set to run for around 45 minutes, I think, isn't it, for the webinar today? But I'll pop back towards the end once you've done your slides. But yeah, please do ask questions to the partners that are out there, and yeah, hope you get a lot out of the session. Over to you, Sofie.
Superb. Thank you so much, Nick. So good morning, everyone. I am Sofie. I am a Partner Enablement Manager with a focus on distribution and international. My colleague Will is not here today. He is on holiday, but Will is my counterpart in terms of Principal Regional Partner Manager with a focus on MSP. So we are basically the LastPass team that supports Nick and intY in doing business with us. I have following agenda for today. So we're going to start with a brief introduction. We're going to have a look at LastPass at a glance, the key value propositions and benefits of using LastPass. Then we'll have a look at what sells. We're going into a live demo on the admin console in specific, so your MSP console, like Nick mentioned, how to add licenses, how to manage your companies. We will have time for Q&A. If we don't get to all the questions, please do pop them into chat and we'll follow up with the replies afterwards. And then as a final one, we will have a handout with some handy resources that can help you afterwards to deep dive and to assist you. So to kick things off, we are going to introduce LastPass, the company itself. So LastPass was founded in 2008. In 2015, LogMeIn acquired LastPass, and at the end of 2021, LastPass became an independent company once again. Operating as a standalone business, LastPass has more autonomy to increase investment in the customer experience, go-to-market functions, and engineering to accelerate the growth within password management. Now, up to date, we have over 33 million registered users, over 100,000 business users, and in total, we protect over 1 billion passwords. Now, a bit more on LastPass, the solution. So we focus on helping customers. With LastPass, employees only have to remember one password to access their secure password vault. This eliminates the problems and risks associated with poor password practice, helping to enhance data security. And we focus on putting the business in control. Administrators have a simple integrated view of all users, apps, and access points, with actionable oversight to manage employee passwords, security, and protect data. Everyone's credentials, notes, and information are kept safe with a zero-knowledge security infrastructure. It's an easy-to-implement SaaS solution that means no hardware to install, which enables rapid setup and ensuring it's always up to date. Integration is possible with all major IDP environments, including Azure, On-Prem AD, Okta, OneLogin, Google Workspace, Ping ID. And in terms of market positioning, we have the following offerings. For small to medium-sized businesses or mid-market, we offer the all-in-one solution with EPM, SSO, and MFA. And for enterprises, we offer EPM integrated with existing SSO or MFA from Microsoft or Okta. And then the new passwordless login. So passwordless login allows users to log into LastPass or a feature of LastPass using the LastPass Authenticator app instead of the master password. Authentication can be done via the LastPass Authenticator app using a push notification, stored biometrics, a time-based one-time password code, SMS passcode, or a phone call. LastPass has been and is continuously identified by various industries as a leader in password and identity management solutions. So let's have a look at the value propositions and the benefits of LastPass. Our key value proposition. So we are not just an identity management solution that allows you to secure your business. We also allow you to improve compliance, whether that be internal or external, by providing greater visibility into user and system behavior. We reduce the security risk by protecting and mitigating against security threats. We improve operational efficiency and employee productivity by reducing the time and cost of dealing with support-related issues in a scalable manner. And we improve customer satisfaction by delivering a comprehensive and frictionless experience for end users and technicians. The next slide is an overview, and I highlighted some of the pains that we hear from potential customers and the benefits that LastPass can offer to remediate here. So when you are talking to a prospect and you hear the pains regarding customers are using multiple vendors already to manage their passwords, SSO and MFA, what LastPass does is consolidate those into one unified solution, which can be controlled from a centralized admin console. Again, simplifying that usage. When we talk about onboarding and offboarding employees, it can be quite tedious and a manual process. With LastPass directory integrations, you can automate your onboarding and offboarding, and it adds a break glass mechanism. IT teams have limited control and visibility into employee password habits and sharing, shadow IT sites, and access. LastPass provides a complete visibility and control for password sharing, shadow IT sites, and employee access. Employees might be sharing passwords with coworkers using insecure methods like shared spreadsheets, Post-it notes, or Google Docs. LastPass provides simple and secure ways to share those passwords with other employees, which again reduces the risk of breaches. Employees don't know how bad their password habits are or how to fix them. LastPass provides a security dashboard where users can monitor their password habits and learn actionable ways to improve those. Following up with our key differentiators. So LastPass is easy to implement, use, and manage. A message not only important to our IT teams, but also for the end user who will be using LastPass as a part of their day-to-day work. Usability is a must, and with time and resources, always a challenge. LastPass's ease of use sets us apart from the rest. How? Our admin setup walkthrough allows for easy setup and ongoing management of LastPass. Our intuitive UI for end users, the ability to seamlessly manage work and personal passwords across multiple devices, our integration with customers' current IT infrastructure, and more. LastPass secures every access point. Password management covers those who are not managed by IT, and personal passwords, payment information, and more. Single sign-on provides the ability to access all IT-approved applications using one login and password. And lastly, multi-factor authentication adds an additional layer of security to the login process to ensure secure access. LastPass Admin Console provides one simple unified location for an admin to monitor employee activity, manage password management, SSO and MFA functionality, and access reporting. For MSPs, we offer the Managed Companies features, and we will be seeing that in detail later on in the live demo, to manage multiple independent client accounts for LastPass, all from one primary admin console. LastPass allows admins to automate onboarding and offboarding of employees, ensuring the right employees have access to the right resources. Once they leave the organization, access will be removed automatically to prevent insecure access post-employment. Additionally, you can automate the sharing of folders, permission, and more. For the previous differentiator, LastPass can automate onboarding and offboarding processes. This is done through multiple Active Directory integrations. A company can easily set up with LastPass. Additionally, we offer federated login with Microsoft Azure AD, Active Directory, and Okta. Our zero-knowledge security model is designed to keep all sensitive data safe. Biometric data and encryption keys never ever leave the user's device, so personal information remains secure and private. MFA is an add-on to the password management solution. It eliminates passwords for employees while maintaining granular admin control. Provide biometric authentication protection for users' password vaults, single sign-on apps, VPNs, workstations, and identity provider. You can enforce extra security protocols to reduce the risk of a successful data breach. Increase IT control with contextual MFA policies, from geofencing to IP address policies, and improve security without impacting employee productivity. We also offer the add-on of SSO. Now, SSO is already included within intY's MSP offering. With SSO, you reduce passwords while increasing ease of employee access. So with an integrated single sign-on and password management solution, LastPass provides control and security for every access point. You can add an unlimited amount of SSO applications, and I believe we have over 1,200 apps that are already pre-integrated. You can automate onboarding and offboarding to cloud applications. You can revoke access to key applications when an employee leaves, reduce the number of passwords employees must memorize, and you can allow IT visibility into apps to identify gaps in access security. Now, let's have a look at some of the key features that sell. And we're going to have a look at each of those in detail. And to kick it off, we start with the passwordless login. So passwordless login allows you to log into the LastPass Vault, into SSO apps, or into your workstation simply by using the LastPass Authenticator app. Once it's set up, you'll use any of the authentication options within that LastPass Authenticator app, which are a push notification plus a face or fingerprint, TOTP code, SMS passcode, or a phone call to log in instead of entering your master password. The secure password creation. So you can simplify your digital life with strong password generator that's built into that browser or an app on your phone. LastPass can create secure passwords right as you sign up, and then remember them all for you. The LastPass browser extension puts you in control of your online life, making it easy to keep your critical information safe and secure so you can access it whenever you want, wherever you are. You can save all of your passwords, addresses, credit cards, and more within your secure vault, and LastPass will automatically fill in your information whenever you need it. FAB, or families as a benefit. So LastPass Business includes families as a benefit, which provides a premium LastPass account for employees to use personally, and up to 5 accounts for those closest to those, to ensure that both professional and personal lives are protected. Employees can link their accounts for the ease of management, whilst keeping both vaults completely separate and private. We see that the adoption rate of using LastPass highly improves when using LastPass in a personal way as well. Our shared folders. Our shared folders are specific folders within your vault that you can use to securely and easily share site password entries and secure notes with other LastPass users. They allow different access controls over particular passwords or other items that multiple team members share regularly. As an administrator of a shared folder, you can easily configure and maintain updates to items, as well as assign user access to those items within your shared folder. And anytime that you make updates to that shared item, it will update your users as well. The admin dashboard is your gateway to deploying LastPass across the organization. So the admin dashboard is a central place to manage your team and their usage of LastPass, using the special privileges given to admins. As an admin, you can add and remove team members, enable or disable policies, restrict or grant access, designate shared policies, and manage all aspects of the team. The adoption dashboard is where you will assess password security and manage licenses. And then for the end user experience. Now, password management is only effective when employees actively use it. When evaluating solutions for the entire company, it does not matter how much the IT team loves the admin features and backend functionality. If your employees won't use it, the solution is not worth implementing. We see what matters for end users is it has to be easy to use, the possibility to share at will, and the improvement of password hygiene in a simple way. Next, we'll have a quick look at our competitive landscape. I have highlighted some of our main competitors, which you have also seen in the market, but I haven't ranked them in a specific order. It's just to give you an overview of who is out there in the market and to have a look at like what is like the key differentiator with the stuff that we offer. So 1Password, which is headquartered in Toronto with offices in the US and the UK. They have around 50 million customers and 100K business users. So where we have the same amount of business users, we have about 33 million customers. Where we have the visibility and controls for admins, the controls and visibility that 1Password offers are not as extensive. So they also do not offer federated login, which will have an impact on the deployment and scalability when we see or when we look at enterprise features. And their telephone support only operates during Eastern Standard Times, which can be a bit on the downside when you're located within EMEA. The next one is Dashlane. Dashlane is headquartered in New York with offices within EMEA. They have around 40 million users and 20K business users. At the moment, they don't have the same sharing capabilities as LastPass has. They do offer integration with identity providers, but in a more complex way. And the additional features that they offer, such as dark web monitoring, is only available for admins, whereas LastPass offers that for every single user. Next up is Keeper. Keeper is headquartered in Chicago and Cork, Ireland. They have about 50 million users at this stage. Their federated login needs self-hosting and stored encryption keys. And their additional features, such as dark web monitoring and advanced reporting, comes at a premium cost, whereas LastPass offers that for free. And then the last one that we have highlighted here is Bitwarden. Now, Bitwarden works a bit differently. Bitwarden is open source. So that means that all of their source code is found online, and you can use that yourself as well. And you can add features that way. And you can self-host it. It can be on-prem. It does offer limited enterprise features. And because of the difficult UX, it can be more focused on IT admins versus end users. And then we'll have a look at the key highlights that LastPass offers. So we do have over 130 policies, which allows you to better control the password security. We offer advanced reporting included for all business tiers, not at a premium cost. We have dedicated MFA with options to control via policies and integrate with all major identity providers. Our dark web monitoring helps with added security. It's included for all business tiers. Our MFA and SSO offerings provide an all-in-one identity product. The passwordless login, so you can log into the Vault with FIDO2 authenticators. Our enterprise integrations, such as federated login with all major identity providers. The families as a benefit, so 6 additional premium licenses to really drive adoption, and 24/7 in-person support to all business tiers, including Teams and Standard. And then we move on to our live demo. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Just
I think
a
we've
moment.
got one question that's come in.
Okay.
Is there a way to transition existing customers?
There is. We have a specific process in place for that. Now, it really depends. It might be good to link up with Nick after this session as well, so we can have a look, because depending on the way that the customer is set up, there might be a different process to follow. There is a way to do that, and I'll gladly discuss the options for you. So if you could get in touch with Nick, we can take that offline and follow up immediately.
Yeah,
if that's
we have
okay.
done that for a number of partners, so it's absolutely possible. It typically is effectively like a change of channel process.
Yeah.
Whereby if we need commitment, the customer is happy with that, and then we just set you up on intY's, well, the LastPass portal, but through intY.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite a quick process. So.
It is. It's not a complicated process. It's just if we align immediately, we are sure that everything is correct from the get-go. So just a moment, please, and we're good to go. So as an MSP, This is going to be your main, your home base. So let's go. I'm sorry, I just have to move my other screen to the side. My apologies. You think I'd be used to this right now? But there we go. So this is currently my MSP dashboard or MSP admin console, which will be the home for managing as well our internal users as the managed companies. Within your adoption dashboard, you can see everything regarding your own console. So you see I have in total 12 licenses, 5 seats. That's for my internal usage. The Managed Companies tab is the one where you're going to manage all the companies. So I know there were some questions on where do I add licenses or how do we add those companies. If we want to create a managed company, for example, and let's do that straight away, and we can call this one intY test. As a standard, that's going to allocate 11 licenses. You can alter that. You can make them into a managed service provider if needed. But if you create that company, oh, it's not doing it.
Sophie, that's one of the questions I get asked actually about the 11 licenses that are allocated by default.
Mm-hmm.
But we can overcome that, can't we? So it is 11 by default, but you can knock that down once you create the company. That's right.
Yes, correct. Yeah. It is 11 by default, but yeah. I'm just trying. It's not doing it at the moment, so that's not a good sign. But look, let's go into one of these ones so we can showcase what that looks like. You can see here, created on that date. If you want to allocate licenses, you want to return licenses, that is possible on the site tab within your managed companies. So let's say you want to allocate more licenses or they need more licenses, you can always do that. If that company is no longer interested in working with you, you can suspend the company or you can detach them. Detach them offers everything to them themselves. One highlight that you do have to be mindful of, like if you are going to detach a company, they need to have a local admin. Otherwise, there will be no one to manage that company or to manage their account. So if that is on the table, definitely interesting to highlight. So this is where you create them. You can also export the user counts for billing, export to managed companies, or configure a new PSA integration this way. If you want to have a deeper look at the company itself, this is actually where you're going to configure the managed companies. So let's say you have a new prospect and you want to set them up. This is where you do that. So everything that we see here mimics the original tab within your own MSP console. This is going to be client specific. The major difference is you don't see your managed companies tab here, and you're going to see here. I know it's not as big, but you do see the difference. You're in a managed company, so you're inside of your client. So everything that you want to set up here is going to be specific to this client. If we go back one step and look at our main console, we can go through each of these ones and I can share a bit more information if that's okay. So when we are in our main company, we can go to the Users tab, where you will have an overview of every user within your own account. We have the same view within the client-specific ones, where you will get an overview of the users that are in that client-specific one. You can add users, and you can do that either per email. You can invite them straight away, so they will send an activation email, or you can stage them. So as you configure your console, you will stage them. That means that they're ready to go, and then activate them later on. Or you can use automatic provisioning. For groups as well, a lot of clients have like specific groups set up, whether that be for specific departments or teams or testing. It makes it easier to configure access to certain applications. So you can set up your specific group levels. The same for admin levels. You always want to make sure that you have at least 2 admins. So if one of them loses access or something happens, that there's always one backup person who can be there. And then directories. You can sync users in directly by so removing the need to add them manually. And you can do that by each of these ones. Each of these ones have specific steps that you can follow with the setup instructions and the recommendations following that. So it might be that you have client-specific details or client-specific needs. This one is for your main console. When you go in to this one, you can do it specifically for that client. So it is good to have those conversations with the clients so you know exactly what do they need, what do they want, and work with them that way. And then federated login, which allows users to use their identity credentials to log into LastPass instead of using their master password. Again, depending on the need, you can use any of those with, again, the proper steps here to help you set it up. Then we go into our Applications tab. So for SSO, again, SSO allows you to remove additional credentials. You can search the catalog and you will see within the catalog all of the ones that we have in there. And I think at this moment, that's going to be around 1,200. Whatever it is that you need, you can immediately look for it. You can add an unlisted app, or you can learn more about setting this up correctly. This is, again, client-specific versus your own console or your own setup. The same way for MFA apps. If you want to start that, and you're going to see the friendly reminder, if you're going to use this, MFA does come as an add-on. So they will be built. You can select whether that be Windows Workstation, Mac OS, Microsoft Azure, Microsoft AD, or Universal Proxy. And again, it follows instructions and setup steps for each of those. The passwordless apps, you can let your users leverage their biometric authentication, so with a fingerprint or their face, again, to eliminate the login with a master password by using those. And you can set those up either at your own level or at the client level. And then shared folders. These ones will give you an overview of the shared folders, the people within those folders, and what exactly they're doing, like the security challenge. How secure is their score at the moment, their password strength, the duplicate password. It's going to give you a security score. It's going to give you the overview of the apps and the users within those shared folders. So you have a complete overview of all shared folders in there. The policies, and I have a really good document with like a recommended policy versus all the policies we have. It might be good to really look into those. If standard, we have a couple of these policies enabled, but there are also a bunch of policies that we recommend in terms of securing or adding additional security layers to your LastPass usage. So you can check out the default policies, the recommended policies. Each of them have been assigned to a specific segment. And if we want to set up a new policy, for example, you can look into the recommended section. One of the ones I would highly recommend is, for example, the length or how you set up your passwords. Like a lot of people still have that initial setup one where you have a master password that's like X amount long. I think it would be good to immediately add that, so they have a longer one, which again is more safe. And you can check each of these, whether you want to set up MFA, whether you want super admins to be able to reset master passwords, which is a very important one. Each of these policies, and you can set them up either at your level, so your admin level, or again, client specific. So it's really good to understand, like, is there a specific setup that customers need or want, and to look into this with them. The same for MFA. MFA has their own set of policies that you can look into. And again, you can set that up separately. You're going to see these ones do not apply to federated users since they won't be using that. And then we go in to the reporting side. Now, reporting can be done on multiple levels, whether you want it to be on user levels, admin activity. Again, this one is going to link to your own account. If you go into the client side, you can get the reports per client. And then the advanced tab is going to showcase you the enterprise options. And that really depends on the stuff that you want to do within your entire company, whether that be the use of API. Again, each of these, if it's for provisioning, if it's for installing of the software, each of those will come with their own set of instructions, guidance, everything surrounding that. But I think that would be like the basics that I really wanted to highlight with you today. And I just would like to see, are there any additional questions in regards to the dashboard itself or the admin console versus the usage for clients?
And whilst we wait for anything to come through, Sofie, I think you should mention as well that partners, they get 5 NFRs as part
Yes.
of intY, so 5 NFR licenses. So if
Correct.
you are a partner on this call and you've got access to the portal, but you've not got your NFRs, that might be a good starting point. Get your NFRs and obviously have a play around with the software.
No questions at the minute around the admin hub. There's another question, but it's related to something else which we can always cover at the end.
Okay. Then Nick, you mentioned the NFRs. Now, you do not need to take specific steps in order to get those. We see here, for example, your total available seats, your total licenses. As MSP, you get 5 for free. So those 5 will be for free. Any additional usage, so let's say that you invite more than 5 users, on top of those 5 you will be billed, but those 5 that you initially set up, they will be for free, they will not be billed.
Becky, you mentioned there was a question that came through.
Yeah, so it's not a product question, but it's just around the barrier to sale that this person has in the last few years with the data breach. The knowledge of this is widespread, so I've been getting pushback from prospects. Does anyone have it? Do you have any objection handling suggestions / materials?
I do understand the question, and look, it is something that we are very aware of. So I know up until the recent weeks, like the stuff that we shared was limited because we were still waiting on the research or the investigation from the third-party company to be finished. I don't know if you had a chance or if you have had a chance to look on the newly updated blog. But let me share that link also afterwards. I'll share that with you, Nick, so you can cascade down further. Something that is important to highlight in this aspect, like one of my questions would be, what kind of objections are you facing? Like, what is it that they're telling you? Is it just a general worry on their side, or is it specific things that they're highlighting that we can potentially look into? One of the things that I would say is, look, everything that we have discussed today, all of those things are still valid. They still stand. It was not LastPass itself or LastPass as a solution that was breached. It was the infrastructure behind it that was compromised. So LastPass still works as intended, but the infrastructure such as the backup storage containers and such have been compromised. We are investing heavily, and we really want to future-proof this. So we will have updates moving forward. One of the things I do want to highlight is, whether it be pleasant or not, we will always be brutally honest along the way. So everything that has been shared so far that has been made available, you can look into that, you can share that as well. But if there are specific things on your mind at this stage, I would really want to ask you to share that with us so we can look into that.
I think with that last point as well, Sofie, that's really key, that LastPass have been so transparent with regards to the information and the investigation into, the breach. A lot of companies do get breached and they don't release, information on it. You just hear about it. Oh, this company's been breached. But with LastPass, you've done a full report. Some people have got mixed feelings, if I'm being honest, mixed feelings on that, whether they, it's right to be that transparent about things. But I think it's a positive thing. It shows, it's gone into detail about the last breach. No data was compromised, no credit card information was stolen, anything like that. But I think it's been quite refreshing to see that. That's one way to spin it if you're talking to customers about that and they mention, LastPass have been extremely transparent with the whole investigation on that breach.
Yeah, one of the points was, like, it took a while for us to release all the things, but we had to wait for that third-party investigation to be completely finished. If we come out and we say something, we want to be 100% sure that that is the case.
I think, are there any other questions yet? If anyone does have any more, then feel free to put them in the chat. Now we've only got a couple of minutes left. But...
yeah, and I think that's it then. So I mean, thanks to everyone for joining. I think we don't have anything else, do we, Sofie? Obviously, we've got lots of handouts that we're going to send to everyone that's been on the call. Did you have any more quick slides?
Yeah, one thing that I do want to highlight, and I have been hearing or questions surrounding that, is the fact that we do have data centers in Europe as well. So in case that is of some concern to potential customers or prospects that you're working with, you can highlight that. I will be sharing the link to where you can find more information of those as well. But we do have data centers within the US, EU, UK, and APAC. So if there is a question surrounding, like, where is your data stored or where do you want your data to be stored, you can reference to those pages. That was it, sorry.
No, that's good. That's definitely worth mentioning. Yeah, that's a good point. Perfect.
I think the rest of the slides are resources, aren't they? And just to let everyone know, we'll send around the slides with the recording after the webinar, probably tomorrow. So you'll have that, and there's some great resources here that Sofie's put in. So you'll have access to all of those.
Yeah, one of the resources that I would really want to highlight is your adoption and deployment guide. So everything within that deployment and adoption guide is going to highlight the best practices that we see within the market, or as feedback from working with some of the most successful MSPs in terms of how do you set up the customer for success, what should the timeline look like, whether we go from, like, the starting phases, the communication plan, the training plan, the further rolling out of the product. Ideally, we see a deployment or an implementation should take between 30 and 60 days. That's kind of the timeline that we give, but definitely have a look at that deployment and adoption guide, and the same with the best practice policies to give you a better understanding of, like, what are all the policies that are out there at the moment, and If there are any additional questions, please do reach out to Nick, and I can jump on a call with Nick to go into detail there.
Please do. And I didn't catch the question we had in earlier around moving a customer from one account to the new LastPass portal. Just drop me a mail after. It's nick.wilkinson@intY.com, and I can pick up any queries on that one moving forward. Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time, Sophie.